Let's talk about love on this Valentine's episode of the Music-ist. Hello and welcome to the Music-ist. My name is Sage, and today we're going to be talking about love and how it's portrayed in music. We're going to be breaking down Grenade. It's an old song by Bruno Mars. I really like the song. The man can sing. It's really well performed. Sounds great. But I want to talk about the underlying message of the song and how it is emblematic of how love is portrayed in music. Then I want to talk about the definition of love and whether or not how music portrays love actually lines up with the definition of love. And then, since it is Valentine's Day, I do want to talk about Valentine, kind of where we get Valentine's Day from and what it was all about, who he was, and what did he do that inspired us to celebrate love on this particular day. Let's break down Grenade by Bruno Mars. Now, I have the lyrics pulled up here. I don't know if I'm going to do it for the actual video, so you're going to have to take my word for it if I don't end up editing it, because I don't know how to do that. If I do, it'll be over here. Maybe not. I don't know. Okay, anyway. So let's start with verse 1. Easy come, easy go. That's just how you live. Oh, take it all, but you never give. Should have known you was trouble from the first kiss. Had your eyes wide open. Why were they open? Gave you all I had and you tossed it in the trash. You tossed it in the trash. You did. To give me all your love is all I ever ask. 'Cause what you don't understand is I'd catch a grenade for you. Throw my hand on a blade for you. I'd jump in front of a train for you. You'd know I'd do anything for you. I would go through all this pain, take a bullet straight through my brain. Yes, I would die for you, baby, but you won't do the same. Okay, so I want to stop there. So in this first verse, particularly the last lines of the pre-chorus. So to give me all your love is all I ever ask, because what you don't understand is, here's something that I have a problem with right off the bat. He wants his love reciprocated. Now, we'll get into why I have a problem with that in a little bit, but the fact that he wants his love reciprocated mitigates his assertion that he'll catch a grenade and do all these things that would essentially end his life for his girlfriend or whoever he's talking to. So all of that really cool language, I would catch a grenade for you, I'd throw my hand on a blade, I'd jump in front of a train, take a bullet in my brain, I'd die for you. He just comes out and say, I'll die for you. All of that is cheapened because he's doing it to get something back. He's doing it to get that person's love back. Okay, let's keep going. So this is verse 2. Black, black, black and blue, beat me till I'm numb. Tell the devil I said hey when you get back to where you're from. Mad woman, bad woman, that's just what you are. Yeah, you'll smile in my face, then rip the brakes out my car. Gave you all I had and you tossed it in the trash. You tossed it in the trash. You did. Yes, you did. To give me all your love is all I ever ask, because what you don't understand is I'd catch a grenade for you. And we're back to the chorus. So let's talk about the second verse. Tell the devil I said hey when you get back to where you're from. Now, if you love somebody, would you ever call them a demon? I mean, maybe in jest, perhaps. But this is not in jest. He's talking about how she'll I'm guessing, emotionally beat him till he's numb, can't feel anything. And he's basically saying you're from hell and you're going back there. You're going to hell. So that's why he says, tell the devil I said, hey, when you get back to where you're from. Mad woman, bad woman, that's just what you are. Whatever happened to the baby? Whatever happened to gave you all I had, but you tossed it in the trash? Whatever happened to I would die for you, baby? Whatever happened to that? So we're seeing his true colors a little bit here. Okay, so we when I finished, we just got through the chorus again. Okay, so this is the bridge. If my body was on fire, ooh, you'd watch me burn down in flames. You said you love me, you're a liar, 'cause you never, ever, ever did, baby. But darling, I'd still catch a grenade for you. Throw my hand on a blade for you. I'd jump in front of a train for you. You know I'd do anything for you. I would go through all this pain, take a bullet straight through my brain. Yes, I would die for you, baby, but you wouldn't do the same. And then it ends with, you wouldn't do the same. You wouldn't do the same. Ooh, you'd never do the same. No, 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 no. Okay, so here's the thing. I'm not disputing that the woman's also in the wrong. She's doing a lot of selfish things. But he's portraying himself as altruistic when his express desire for all of this is the reciprocation of her love. To give me all your love is all I ever ask. Because what you don't understand is I'd catch a grenade for you. So, why do I have a problem with this definition of love? So what's the definition of love? This is from the Merriam-Webster Dictionary. So, cite my sources. It says that the definition of love is warm attachment, enthusiasm, or devotion, the object of attachment, devotion, or admiration, unselfish, loyal, and benevolent concern for the good of another. Also, the strong affection of another arising out of kinship or personal ties, of attraction based on sexual desire, affection, tenderness felt by lovers, affection based on admiration, and assurance of affection. Okay, and then it goes on to other stuff. So what I want to note here, especially the unselfish, loyal, and benevolent concern for the good of another, is inherently about the other person. It's not about getting anything back. Now, most of these definitions, with the exception of the attraction based on sexual desire, affection and tenderness felt by lovers, none of that's reciprocated. None of it requires to be reciprocated. So when we come back, we'll be talking about Valentine. So who was Saint Valentine? Valentine was living in, Middle Ages. I believe in Rome. Hold on, let me look. I believe it was in Rome. 3rd century in Rome. Now, Emperor Claudius II didn't think that married men, or married men really, made good soldiers. He thought that single men were better for soldiers, and so wanting to bolster his army, outlawed marriage. A radical thing to do. Valentine was a priest who would marry people, and he loved marrying people. He thought that the married family, especially married men, happened to fight better. So he kept going, and it wasn't just about fighting or about being a soldier or whatever, but so he kept on going, kept performing marriages. When his actions were found out, he was arrested and murdered for talking about marriage. So that's who Valentine was. He loved marriage so much that he died for it. He actually died for it. He didn't jump on a grenade. He didn't catch a grenade. He didn't jump in front of a train. No, he was helping people unite their lives. And now he was a Christian priest, so he believed till death do you part. So he's a lifelong bond in holy matrimony, sacrificial, because the Bible says the two shall become one. So it's no longer me and you, it's just us. And so that's what he believed in. And he believed in it so strongly that when it became illegal, he still did it because it was the right thing to do in his mind. And he said, you know what, I don't care that the punishment for doing this is now death. I would rather die than stop. And he did. He died. So now we don't talk about St. Valentine anymore. Most people don't know who he was or what he was about or why we celebrate Valentine's Day, where we send our crush a rose, or we buy them candy, or we get them chocolate, we go out on dates, etc., etc. And all that follows from that. And when you do, then you have, when you don't understand the actual sacrifice of love, which is, like I said, the two becoming one, where you will compromise on everything, where you will accept that you can't change the other person, that you can only work on yourself. When you accept that and you say, you know what, I'm going to make the decision to love you anyway. Now, one good thing about this, again, it's about Bruno Mars, that's mitigated at the end of the chorus. But at the coming out of the bridge into the last chorus, he says, but darling, I'd still catch a grenade for you. Now, cool thing is, he doesn't talk about the way that the lady looked or what she did for him, which was that's a plus. But he still wanted something back. Now, this is the better examples. There are some that are way, way worse than this, and I don't have to go break those down because you know exactly, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So this is good. This is as good as it gets, pretty much, in mainstream music. But it's not. It really is not good enough. Why? Because it wants something in return. Granted, you could want somebody to love you, but the whole point of love is not an emotion. Unlike this, the dictionary definition. Contrary to that, biblically speaking, and I'm talking biblically because in English we just say love for everything. So that's the sexual, erotic love. We say that the love of a brother or familial love. We talk about unconditional love, and it's all just under love. However, in Greek, there are several different words. So I talked about the erotic sexual love, that's eros. Familial love or brotherly love, that's phileo. And then unconditional love is agape. And I believe there's other ones that are not coming to mind right now. However, St. Valentine, who we're celebrating today, February 14th, he believed in agape. He wasn't marrying people because of eros. He wasn't marrying people because of phileo. He was marrying people because of agape. And that's what he was preaching. He says, that this is a sacrificial thing. You need to love them unconditionally. Again, he's a priest, so he was preaching the scriptures, presumably. And in the Bible, it talks about men love your women, men love your wives, as Christ loved the church. Now, if you know what Christ did, he died on a cross for her. He died on the cross for us. Now, the Bible talks about us being the bride of Christ, the church being the bride of Christ. So this is what he would presumably tell people, and this is kind of what we should be pushing, in my opinion, when it comes to love in music. We should be talking about the sacrificial thing, how it doesn't matter if the love is reciprocated. Why? Because I'm going to love you regardless. One of the definitions, sub-definitions of love, especially for the unselfish, loyal, and benevolent concern for another, for the good of another, is the fatherly concern of God for humankind. When you concern yourself with the good and the well-being of another person, not your own well-being. I know it's popular today to be talking about, well, I need to love myself first. I need to make sure that I take care of me first before I can take care of somebody else. I think that's backwards. I think when you are vulnerable, and I'm not saying it's not a risk, it is a risk. When you are vulnerable with another person and you let them in and you are genuinely concerned about their good, and you don't care what the cost is. It doesn't matter what the cost is. I'm going to make sure that you understand how much I love you. That's love. That's how I think of it. Now, as a single guy, not exactly the best to kind of give my thoughts on this as a single guy, but that's the reason why I use sources. That's why I draw from the Bible, because as a Christian, I believe that God created male and female in his image, and he is a loving God, and he showed that love for us when he died on the cross. Now, that's the ultimate expression of love, and that's what I aspire to. It's not just about eros. I understand that that's a big component of marriage, and I understand that's a big component of a long-lasting marriage. But that all has to come within the context of agape, unconditional love. It doesn't matter what you did or what you don't do for me. It doesn't matter if you can even reciprocate. If you are capable of reciprocation, I'm going to decide to love you anyway. That's love. Now, I understand that we stopped talking about music, so let's go back to talking about music and how, even though this is a good example, quote unquote good, how it's emblematic of music and really culture. I kind of touched on this a little bit, but in our culture, love is about what you can do for me. Not what I can do for you, but what you can do for me. And unfortunately, that's incorrect, as far as I'm concerned. That's not the right mentality to have when you're talking about love. Love is about what I can do for you. Anyway, that's just my thoughts. Happy Valentine's Day. If you have a Valentine, good job, I guess. I don't know what to say. Anyway, tell them you love them, and remember what St. Valentine stood for. And try to remember him, not just on a day where you send somebody red roses and a red heart filled with chocolates, but remember his sacrifice. Remember what he was fighting for and what he gave his life to stand for. Anyway, until next time, this is the Music-ist. I'll talk to you guys later.
The podcast you just heard was made using Anchor. Ever thought about making your own podcast? Anchor makes it really easy for anyone to get started. It's a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing podcasts. Best of all, it's 100% free. Sign up now at anchor.fm/new. That's anchor.fm/new to get started.